Okay, this is Revelation chapter 9, and yeah, I'm overloading you with a bunch of videos, but I have to get them out when I can. So, um, I believe this is where we left off, because I think we did chapter 8. So, chapter 9, and it begins. Verse 1, And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star from heaven fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit. There arose a smoke out of the pit as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. Now here, John is seeing the judgments to the whole earth, where in Jeremiah chapter 4, 23 to 28, and against Judah and the land. So it's happened before. Verse 3, And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power or authority, as scorpions of the earth have power. Now this is kind of this is where the dark days could be, right at that point. I will have to see. Okay, now Revelation 9:4. Now this is talking about the Locust army, and Joel really goes extensively into it, but here we'll see some of it. And it was commanded them, the Locust army, that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree. But that's what locusts eat, so we know it's not a bug. But only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. So remember back in Revelation chapter 7, it was the four winds were being held back until the 144,000 were sealed. So now we know they've been sealed. Okay, verse 5, And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. There's another 5-month period with Noah where the water came up and covered the land, and then at the end of 5 months he was able to get out, but the waters receded. But see, this time it's not going to be a flood of water. It's going to be a flood of deception. And I don't know, just going on the internet and seeing all this information, and yet it's so much of it that it's really hard to know if it's true or not. And I have heard that the technology that we see between what they have is like 100 years ahead. And I know I've said this before about the sun simulator, and see, the reason why they would need a sun simulator is if the sun was dying, was going out. The Bible says there will be signs in the sun. Why in the sun, and what would you be looking for? Well, on Christ's return, we're not going to need the sun anymore, and it specifically states that the sun will be turned pale. So is it already turning pale now? So, but it tells us a timeline for 5-month period. And remember, time has been shortened. And there is the amount of time. 5 months. And then, so I was talking about in Genesis, it's a Genesis 7:24, and Noah and the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days, 5 months. So now back to Revelation chapter 9:6. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. So those without the seal of God, the protection, are going to have a really hard time. 9:7. And the shapes, or the likeness of the locust, were like unto horses prepared unto battle. And on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the face of men. This is the 7,000 fallen angels. So, angels per se are beautiful, have the light, they're going to look godly. It's going to look like Christ's return, but they're actually warring against the saints. These on down here against the 144,000. Anybody who believes in God. Satan is going to be coming in with peace and prosperity, and he's going to try and trick you into worshiping him and thinking he is the real Christ return. And believe me, once all this stuff like the celestial body crossing and all of that happens, people are going to be begging for a Messiah. And it's going to look like it if you don't know what the signs are. So, all right, Revelation 9:8. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. Women as being gentle, but a lion shreds and tears their victim apart. So, yeah. Revelation 9:9. And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running into battle. So these are supernatural beings coming with Satan. And we know in Ezekiel that God has his own transportation. Satan has his own transportation because he copycats. It's not going to be as good, but I believe that's the sound of their wings coming in. And the breastplates, we know that the breastplates of the true priest have 12 stones for each, representing each tribe of Israel. And it does not state. So breastplates of iron, war. So they're coming in to try and fool you with flatteries and everything else. But you got to take a really, really close look. Revelation 9, verse 10. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails. And their power was to hurt men, not kill them, hurt 5 months. So spiritually speaking, however that is going to get done, but, you know, spiritually speaking, I can't even imagine as far as what they'll even be thinking and doing. You know, I have some thoughts on it, but I'm not sure if I want to say it because sometimes I can, like, say things and then know later that that wasn't correct or something. So, Revelation 9:11. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. Here the names are personified for the one entity. The destroyer is Satan. So he can't physically kill you, but spiritually he can. You gotta really watch out. And he's going to demand worship, and you can't buy or sell unless you're in that system. So you'll want to, you know, really be trusting in God at that time. So, verse 12, one woe is past, and behold, there comes 2 woes more after. Okay. So, Revelation 13, or 9:13, and the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar before God, 14, saying to the 6th angel which had the trumpet. Now, remember, Satan's number is 666. So, here's one thing to look for in his coming. Loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great Euphrates. Now, Euphrates separates Israel from Babylon. It's the line between them. Okay, verse 15. And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the 3rd part of men. And that's spiritually. And the number of the army of horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. Couldn't count them. The enemy is flooding in. The army is well coordinated and with a purpose to bring in the new world order. The deception of lies. But God said, touch not mine elect. You can't hurt. You can't touch one hair on their heads. 17. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them. Oh my gosh. Having breastplates of fire and of jacinth, brimstone and hell. And the heads of the horses were as heads of lions, and out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone. This is basically talking about the deception. They're going to look heavenly. They're going to look like that moment. But it's all deception, and with all the technology that is up now, think about what's going to be used against us. It's going to be, Satan's deception is going to be so good that if it were possible, even the very elect might get fooled, if it were possible, if time had not been shortened. That's how good it is. So, verse 18, by these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. 19, for their power is in their mouth. See? They're all religious, priest of Satan, goodly, and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And it's coming from the pit of hell. They want your soul. Spiritually, they want to kill you. And the setup will look marvelous. And to someone who has never studied, they'll be the first to be deceived. So, and running to the Antichrist, thinking that is Christ. Verse 20, and the rest of the men which were not killed, you know what I mean, by these, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. 21, neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. So at this point, the deadly wound has already happened. Satan comes in as a savior per se. He makes the peace treaty with the Islamic nations around that area. Then he claims, because regular men have never been able to give a peace treaty, offer a peace treaty that they would take. And so he's starting to fix the world's problems. After the celestial body crossing, there's going to be a lot of things that need fixing. So he will set up the last part of it. The economy is going to have to be set for a world system. And then when he fixes the world's problems, then he's going to say he is God. And to say, the nations and their God, he's going to look like their God. So they're going to believe it. And to us, he's going to look like Jesus, Yeshua. So that is it on Revelation chapter 9. And the symbology of it, it's, if you remember anything, just remember it's the deception. It's an analogy, just a way of saying they're coming in looking very nice and Christian-like, but underneath it's like the wolf coming in. And so next one I will be doing is chapter 10, and then chapter 11 is the two witnesses. I'm almost caught up here. Wow. What time is it? I got 20 minutes. This is a very short chapter. I'll just do a separate one. Okay, I'll be back.